All right, welcome to the Rational Football League show. My name is Emmett Swart. I'm here with my co-host Brendan Ford. A little bit of a backstory about us. We are former college football players. I am a defensive end that converted to wide receiver. Brendan is a outside linebacker and safety. Let's get right into it, Brendan. Which
Yes,
player do you
sir.
want your team to sign and why?
So the Bears really need some defensive ends. I know you have some edge, history. So if you want to come out and play, cool, bro. We will
I don't think
definitely
my name will
take
let
you.
me anymore, but we'll see. No, call me Chicago.
Yes, sir. Bro. So I mean, it sucks because I really personally want them to have that long-term answer at the edge, but this is not going to happen right now unless they trade for someone, right? But the free agents out there, I see like Frank Clark is out there right now. Melvin Ingram, long-term player, I think he's like 34 years old. He's still out there right now. Yannick Ngakoue has been a name thrown around, like Bears Twitter, but dude, like any of those three players, I think like any vet would work right now. I think the depth at the defensive end spot is so like low. We have Dominique Robinson, who was like a late round draft pick last year, and he actually played wideout in college, and the last 2 years played end, so he still has a lot of growth to happen. And then they have Demarcus Walker they just signed this offseason. So like pretty much pick anyone, bro. Like go to your local like Express Ryan Poles and go grab someone, bro. Because like
Anyone
we just need
6'6",
someone.
34-inch length arms, just sign them.
Yes, like dude, any freak of nature, like you are huge. Yeah, come
Yeah.
on.
How do you feel about the Bears skill position? I know you guys have St. Brown. I know you just traded for DJ Moore from Carolina. Do you feel like that's enough? Do you feel like you'd like to see him maybe just try to get another signing in there? I know DeAndre Hopkins was available at one point in the offseason. I'm not sure if he still is. He posted something on Instagram about potentially staying with Arizona. But how do you feel about their current situation and at receiver?
Yeah, dude, that's a great question. I think they're in a good spot there. It's cool to see the change that has happened from last season to this season. You had mentioned we now have a wide receiver one and DJ Moore. They also just drafted Tyler Scott, which I'm assuming will be their wide receiver four. Valus Jones is still on the roster, and then EQ St. Brown, like you had said, is also still there. So I think they're in a good spot. They're what like six deep right now. And maybe a couple of signings here and there, a couple of practice squad guys, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, but hey, Hopkins, if you want to come over, hey man, hey, we got room for you, bro.
And if,
Okay.
and if I'm not Arizona, I might still trade him. I know it seems like they're really trying to gun for that number one overall pick next year.
Yeah, they're trying to right.
Perfect.
Uh,
I feel like for the 49ers, I would like to see him get Jadeveon Clowney. I know it ends not a huge need for us because we obviously have Nick Bosa, who is a stud defensive MVP of the year. But I feel like Jadeveon Clowney would be a great pickup for our base for 3 downs, first, second. He did have a down year last year. He only had 3 sacks, but had, I believe it was 10 sacks the year before with Cleveland. He should come pretty cheap because was just released by Cleveland with a post June 1st designation. So he's going to get paid a little bit of money this year. It might help him. He doesn't hurt the comp pick anymore. And I know right now they have a couple of guys. They have Drake Jackson. He's going to come back for his second year out of USC, hoping to change his body a little bit, make some noise. We did just draft Robert Beal Jr. out of Georgia as well. But both those guys, Robert Beal Jr. had a 14.1% win rate according to PFF on passing situations, and he was slightly a better pass rusher than run defender. Drake Jackson, same thing in college. He had an 88.3 pass rush grade versus a 70.4 rush defense grade. Again, according to Pro Football Focus, where I'm getting all these numbers from. And even at that, he had a 20% win rate on pass rushing downs versus a 5% win rate on rushing downs. Just for comparison, Nick Bosa had a 90.9 pass rush grade last year. So those guys all seem like great edge rushers. So 3rd and 15, bring in that NASCAR package, get them in, move Nick Bosa to the inside, let him and Eric Armstead eat, have fun with it, do some crazy things. But I think Jadeveon Clowney could come in and help really shore up the run defense. I mean, even there's a stretch from 2016 to 2018 where he averaged 38 run stops a season. He actually seemed to do better with more opportunities. He has his highest defensive grades came in 2018 and 2019, where he had rush defense grades of 91.5 and 80.8. So, I mean, just the numbers seem to really back up that he could be a solid run contributor for them, and then let the young guys eat on passing downs.
Yeah, dude, I don't think the D line for you guys is just like wild, right? And then he just got that 3 tech from the Eagles.
Javon Hargrave. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a stud. That's what I'm talking about. So if you can get him on the edge, you have attention going to Nick Bosa, you have attention going to Hargrave, you have attention going to Eric Armstead. He'll get a lot of one-on-one situations. Again, I'm not expecting him to come in and be a 15-sack guy, but if he can get 4 or 5 sacks and really hope on those, running situations, the first and second downs, I think that'd be a great sign. You could probably get him for anywhere between $3 to $6 million. The 49ers just opened some cap space with some restructures. I think they have about $11 million available right now. So he fits right into the budget, and he could be a huge contributor. So that's the guy I would like to see them sign. I know there's a couple according to 49er Twitter. They want Ngakoue as well, who's that speed rush guy coming off the edge or run the hoop. But I think we kind of already have that on the team, and it just seems a little redundant with what we already have. So that's the guy I'd like to see. But I think we've kind of covered that pretty well. So, all right. So moving on to our next segment, Kyle Brandt from the NFL Network, Good Morning Football, amazing show. We love it. We love Kyle Brandt. He is a pop culture knowledge superstar. He actually came out with his quarterback rankings for the AFC and the NFC. I know we both discussed it a little bit earlier in the week, and we're actually going to have it on the screen for you guys to see. For anyone listening on Spotify, sorry, try to Google it if you can. But do you agree, B, and how would you tier it? We can start looking at the AFC first.
So the AFC tier ranking, I don't love. At first, I really noticed that he has Tua and Trevor Lawrence, I think, way too low. He has them at tier 6, like right above the rookies. I don't know. I think they're probably like middle of the road. I would personally put them at like tier 4. I think he has Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson at tier 4. I would put them right there. And then I know that we talked about this earlier in the week, but now I'm just now picking up on it too. He also has Joe Burrow and Josh Allen above Aaron Rodgers. I know he had he had like an off season last year, but that doesn't seem right to me either.
It's that Bears trauma coming to you. You're like, no, Aaron Rodgers needs to be higher than that.
Aaron Rodgers is a bad man, dude. When you talk about one of the greatest to ever play quarterback, and you have him below 2 guys who haven't really accomplished half of what he has yet.
Well, Joe Burrow's been as many Super Bowls as Aaron Rodgers has.
I mean, yes, but he hasn't won one. Neither did he win any like MVPs. I think Rodgers a 4-time winner?
He might be a 3-time winner.
3?
I know he won him 2 back-to-back.
Yeah,
2 years, excluding this last year.
I mean, I know he had an off season last year, but like, come on, dude, he still had a pretty good number for playing the whole season with like a broken thumb.
So you would move him. So would you move him up to tier 2, or would you move? Okay, but I would move anyone down then.
If there was a 1.5, I'm putting Aaron Rodgers right there.
1.5.
Yes.
So you'd have Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and Aaron Rodgers in tier 2, then Jackson and Herbert in tier 3.
And by the way, you can make an argument for Jackson and Herbert being higher too.
Oh my God! Is this a participation segment? What are we doing here,
dude? Herbert has the stats. The only thing against Herbert is like, and I mean, the quarterback, they carry a higher weight in regarding the team's overall record. But he has stats. Like he has stats just as good as Burrow and like Allen.
He has stats. Good thing we don't talk basketball then, because Russell Westbrook would be your favorite player then.
Oh no, dude! Don't be doing me like that, bro.
I mean, overall, I like the quarterback tiers. Aaron Rodgers is a little bit up there. He did have a down year, but is it a down year because it's a down year, or is it a down year because he's starting to, lose to father time? We will see in his first year with New York. I think this is definitely a much better environment. You can tell based on I feel like some of his actions these past couple off seasons have definitely suggested that he was putting on some antics to try to get out of Green Bay. Because all of a sudden he's clean cut, short hair again. I haven't heard anything about no darkness retreats. He's out there working with the young guys and the rookies. So, we'll see how he bounces back. I kind of like it overall. The only thing I would change is I would probably put Trevor Lawrence up to tier 5 with Garoppolo. And I know there's this huge hatred of Garoppolo and everything. And I'm not saying, hey, Trevor Lawrence, this is his peak. What I'm saying is I'm a big fan of consistency. Trevor Lawrence has had one great year. I know he's only been in the league for 2. If he has another year this year like he did last, I think that'd probably bump him up tier 4, tier 3. So, I mean, it's just about really how long have you done it. That's why I'm okay with Wilson and Watson being where they are. They had down years last year, but they have a history of showing they can do it. And they're not too old. So, overall, like I said, I really like this list. This one wasn't the problem one for me. Well, now I'll move over to my problem child one. How did you feel about the NFC list?
NFC list, I'm actually the opposite. I'm not that mad about it. I would put Purdy. Yeah, now I'm looking at it again. I would put Brock tier 4 at least.
Brock tier 4 at least.
Yes, and then I will get rid of that 7th tier and then put like Love, Ryder, Howe, and Bryce Young all in the same tier, just because like they all have like something to like prove. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like we don't know anything about those guys yet, but Stafford is all right. Kirk, I mean, you can make the same. Listen, okay, this is where I'm going to go with my little rant. Okay, if Kyle Brandt has Kirk Cousins at tier 2, Justin Herbert also should be at tier 2 for the AFC.
Well, I mean, it's a different situation. The NFC quarterback group is much weaker than the AFC. I mean, look at even MVPs if you're counting them. The AFC has what, 1, 2, 3, at least 3 former MVPs in it. How many are in the NFC? I don't think there's one former MVP in the NFC at all.
Aaron Rodgers took all of them, bro.
Rodgers took him and left and went to the AFC.
I mean, that is true. If you pull, but you do say a really good like point. It's kind of apples to oranges. But I'm just looking at it like Herbert just has like as good a stats as Cousins is. So like, why can't like I don't know. Yeah, but you're right. I guess it is like apples to oranges. Sorry, I'm kind of getting like off track here.
You're good.
But I know that you have a very nice system, and we should definitely you should go in like detail about way you rank them. Is a lot more like more knowledge than like me per se. Now that I'm looking at this, I will put Love, Ryder, Howe, Young again, all in the same group. Purdy up 1 to be with Daniel Jones, Fields, and Murray. Right, Carr's not bad at tier 3. Goff is not bad at tier 3. Smith is not bad at tier 3. If we're only looking at previous seasons, right? Like Geno Smith had a breakout year last year. Same thing with Goff. Like he has his second chance with the Lions. He had a really good season. Prescott, Cousins, Stafford, yeah, sure, and then Hurts obviously at top of there. So
yeah, so we're going to differ on this one a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I moved the board over participation trophies for the young guys. Very simple for me. I would have Hurts as tier 1. My tier 2 would be Dak, Carr, Stafford. I'd go tier 3 with Cousins, Goff, Kyler. For tier 4, give me Jones and Smith. Tier 5, give me Purdy and Fields. Tier 6, I would go Baker. And tier 7, I would go with Young, Love, Ryder, and Howe. And I know a lot of 49er fans are really excited about Trey Lance, and they want to put Trey Lance in there. So if we were going to include Trey Lance on this list, I would also put Trey Lance in tier 7. Now I'm going to explain why I have these tiers set up the way I do and why I'm okay with, Purdy being where he is, even though I'm a 49ers fan. My tier 1 would be like stars. Like those are the dudes. These are guys that MVP candidates. These are your Super Bowl potential quarterbacks. And so far, I mean, really from the NFC, all I have to work with is Hurts. He's been to a Super Bowl. He was in the conversation for the MVP last year. I don't think he won it. Did he? No. I think it went to.
No, he didn't. I think did it go to Patty?
It might have gone to Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. But congratulations for him. He deserved it. Fantastical player. I mean, there's no more words for him. He's a different. I don't want to hear any comparisons. Oh, this guy's the next one. He's not. There's only one Mahomes. Can we? Let's not
Dude,
be ridiculous here.
the dude is almost a Hall of Famer right now. He's been in the league for what, like since 2017?
Yeah, 6 years. He's got what, three Super Bowl appearances, two
Like,
MVPs. There's no other Mahomes, and we need to just stop that right now.
yeah.
But yeah, I'd go with, so those are my star quarterbacks. My two would be the good quarterbacks. Those are the guys you're like, if you're your quarterback, you feel comfortable with them. So that's my Dak. You're probably good with. Carr, Stafford, you feel comfortable with. You feel like, all right, we got a quarterback that can keep us in the shootout. They all have a little bit of additional mobility, a little additional athletic ability. We've seen Carr run before. We've seen Dak run before. Stafford can extend a play. My tier 3 would be like average. You're like, you know what? If Patrick Mahomes or Hurts came available, we would sign him and replace our quarterback. But anyone else, we're probably okay. And those are the Jones, those are the Goffs, those are the Kylers. Kyler, I'm kind of surprised. I'm surprised I put him on that part myself because he is so phenomenal to watch. But again, it's just the consistency. I need to see it 17 weeks. I can't see it for 8 or 9. You can't disappear in the back half of the year. You can't disappear week to week. So unfortunately, I have to put him in the average section there. Tier 4 is they've had one good year. That's the Jones and Smith. Again, they've had one good year. Outside of that, they've been mediocre. So is that a new trend? Have they now figured out something out? Are we going to see another great year from Geno Smith and from Daniel Jones? Or do they regress back to their medium? So that's why I have them there. 5 I put as untapped potential. So those are Purdy and Fields. We've seen a little bit of Purdy. I think we've seen about 8 games of Brock Purdy. He's been stellar when he's in. But what happens in year 2? Do defenses figure him out? Does he adjust? He's coming off an injury. How does that look? Unknown potential. Like what they've shown has been pretty good, but what comes next? I also have Justin Fields on that list because, he's not a running back. He's a quarterback. But my God, is that man special with his legs. It's him and Lamar Jackson. They're the only ones that do things when you're like, how the hell did they? I remember there was a play, I believe it was last year or 2 years ago against us, where he ran one way, made Eric Armstead miss, came back the other way, and then took it 40 to the house. I'm like, there's no one else doing that. But he has a great arm. So I would love to see him actually play with some weapons, play within a good offensive system that's developed. So I really hope for him he comes out and has a great year. But I think there's a lot of untapped potential there. Tier 6, I have below average starter, Baker. It's been time. We know who he is. He's below average. He's your stopgap, your bridge quarterback, your fill it in for right now kind of guy. And then we have the rookie versus little experience. We don't know. They've played probably 6 or less games. We haven't seen much of them. They could be great. They could suck. We don't know yet. So that's why I have the Young, the Love, the Ryder, the Howell, and Trey Lance. I'd put him in there too. He's only played in 3 or 4 games. Unfortunately, injuries have hindered him from being able to see more. We've seen flashes with the big arm. We've seen some mistakes. So I think this is going to be a great experience for us to see where he goes. But that's how I would do my list. And I think that's a reasonable explanation. So guys can still move up depending on how their careers go. But you question me? Want to challenge me on it all? Or
Not really a challenge, but I do have like a off the wall question for you. Being a Niners fan, you guys have a QB room right now of Darnold, Lance, and Purdy, right?
Yeah.
Given all 3 of those guys are healthy, who do you want starting?
Oh God.
I know it's a tough one.
I'm gonna get killed. No, I'm just kidding. Me personally, it's no question. It's Brock Purdy. Yeah. And the simple explanation is I know Trey Lance is number 3 overall pick. I know Sam Darnold is one of the best throwers of the football of all time, whatever the fuck that means. Even as someone, I don't know, obviously, Shanahan's system. I have never played in Shanahan's system. I don't know what plays they're calling. But even as a casual fan, when you watch the game, it flows easy. You see less 3rd and 16s. You see him getting more first downs. You're not like, oh, we got the ball 3 and out. Cool. Punt, time for me to go to the bathroom, get another beer. You feel more engaged versus when Jimmy Garoppolo is in or Trey Lance is. And again, I don't have any statistical data to back that up right now. I haven't been able to pull it, but it just felt like they were constantly moving. I think they were averaging over 30 points a game. I just saw a screenshot the other day when they were playing against Tampa Bay when they were still like in good playoff contention. And by the middle of the 3rd quarter, I believe it was 35-0. They were blowing out Tom Brady. So, I mean, it's just one of those things. Now, again, I don't know what's going to happen this year. I don't know if he's going to regress. I don't know if his arm's going to be weaker. It may even come back stronger. I am not a fortune or future teller. So, but for me, it would have to be Brock Purdy. Trey Lance has shown some accuracy issues. I mean, we knew that kind of coming out a little bit. We haven't been able to see if it's developed or changed. He's not a running quarterback. He is not a guy I want to see on quarterback power. He's not a guy I want to see. Like, again, just from a fan perspective, when there's certain like feelings you get throughout a game, right? So when the quarterback takes off, when Lamar Jackson takes off, when Justin Fields takes off, you're like, oh shit, not again. He's about to torch us. So you're just like, fuck, someone get him, someone get him, someone get him. You kind of hear yourself say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Trey Lance runs, when Russell Wilson runs, when Patrick Mahomes runs, you don't say the same thing. If you're a fan of those teams, you're screaming at the TV, get down, get down.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that plays a lot into what you kind of see their ability is. Trey Lance, he's a great scrambler. If he drops back 3rd and 8, he sees that middle part open. They're playing cover 3, they're playing cover 4, a little bit deeper coverage. I have no problem with them taking off for 9-10, getting down. But he's not a runner. He's not going to blow you away with his athleticism like we kind of thought he might coming out of college. And then Sam Darnold as a starter, something has probably gone really, really, really wrong. I think they signed him for backup camp arm kind of thing. So if he's taken over, that means the Trey Lance experience has failed. And if he plays the whole season, that means something happened with Brock Purdy. He didn't recover right, or he's just looked awful in his return. So that's how I kind of feel about it. I know I'm going to get a lot of disagreements. I know Trey Lance has a huge following fan base, and that's okay. I want him to be special. I see the big arm. I know he can throw a great deep ball. I just need to see it all play. I need him to see him stay healthy. I mean, I think he's gotten hurt in 3 out of the 4 or 5 games he's played in. Mm-hmm. Again, not his fault. Injuries suck. They happen. They're uncontrollable. But that's still 3 out of 5 games.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about it. Again, I'm going to get cooked on Twitter if anyone sees this. So I'm hoping this is the one video that flops.
No, dude, I if I was a Niners fan, I would think the same way as you. I mean, like when Purdy came in, he more or less jump-started the entire offense, almost the entire team, mm-hmm. right? Like FanDuel hated me because all I did was bet on the Niners skill players, and they were hitting every single bet. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you talk about that Bucks game was 35-0, bro, I was ranking them. I was like, I am rich right now because everyone's just going off. Like, I don't know how someone could say, like a Niners fan could say, oh, no, I want Trey Lance playing when we haven't really seen what he can fully do. And then you have a guy like Purdy who had like 8 great games. Yeah, he was on fire.
Yeah, and even sometimes when he wasn't, his arm wasn't working right, he wasn't figuring out the defense quick. I mean, he's athletic enough to make something happen. I remember there was the seal the Seattle game. I think it was, I want to say week 16. It was a close game. It was 21-13. It was like 3rd and 5 or whatever. And he broke it out of the pocket to the right and was able to just barely pick up the first down and slide enough to seal the game because that ran the clock down enough to where we could just knee it out. If we have Jimmy Garoppolo in there, and again, I like Jimmy, but if we have Jimmy Garoppolo in there, that doesn't happen. Jimmy's just not athletic enough. If we have Trey Lance in there, I don't know what happens. So, I feel comfortable with Brock Purdy. I hope he continues to figure out. I know he's apparently a smart kid, nice kid. If Trey Lance figures it out, fan-freaking-tastic. I would be just as excited because that means we're winning a lot of ball games. So, and that's what I care about more than anything. So,
I know I'm kind of taking our script off tracks here, but I have one more follow-up question for you.
Go ahead.
On the whole Niners QB thing.
Okay.
Let's say, so when is Purdy on track for coming back? Do you know off the top of head?
Yeah, John Lynch just came at a press conference last week, I want to say, and said that he's on track. He's already about to start his throwing program. He should be able to start throwing in camp, I believe, in June, July. Nothing excessive. I know it's just part of that work back is that he can start throwing. And he actually might technically be on track to start week 1, which, if I'm the 49ers, and I'm not, but if I was the 49ers, I would probably give Purdy a couple extra games. One, to let him heal a little more, but it also gives me a chance to play Trey Lance and see what I got in Trey, because if Trey does pretty well in those games, not great, but shows a little something, that increases Trey Lance's trade value. Right now, I don't think Trey Lance really has any. I mean, he's again been injured 2 years. He was supposed to be a starter, got hurt. We haven't seen any special consistent flashes. So, I mean, he probably doesn't have a whole lot of trade value. If I was the 49ers, I'd give him a couple games, 2-3 games, maybe even 4, because teams are figuring themselves out anyway. You always see those wonky losses or wonky wins. So I would probably do that and see what I can get for them later.
That's actually a really nice topic that you just brought up. It kind of pivots to like my actual question too. So put yourself in the mind of John Lynch. Purdy comes back, is obviously his team, right? He's back and rock and rolling, Purdy magic, right? And then like, okay, this is Purdy's team. Okay. Yeah. Do you try to deal Trey Lance as soon as possible, like before trade deadline? Or do you let him ride out the season as just the number 2 or maybe number 3 quarterback?
That's a good question. I want to say my initial reaction is I probably ride it out to the offseason, because that's when teams get really desperate. When they start looking at the quarterback rooms and go, oh, what do we have here? Oh, by the way, Caleb Williams is going number 1. Drake Mayhew, or I apologize.
Drake May, I think.
Drake May, for the quarterback from North Carolina. Gone number 2. You start looking at one of those teams that are drafting maybe 15, 16, and maybe aren't super comfortable with their quarterback situation, and they get desperate. And you might be able to get a little more out of them. So I would probably hold on to then. But unless some team blew me away at the trade deadline and was like, hey, here's the 1st and the 3rd, we want Trey. Okay. But unless it's something, again, astronomical, which I'm not saying any team would do. But if it was that, I would part. If not, I like the depth. I like being able to, look what happened this last year. We lost, 3 quarterbacks?
Right.
So, I would feel more comfortable with the depth unless I was blown away, and I just move them in the offseason. So
that's fair. That's probably best case scenario, especially like right before the draft. Like teams get so desperate.
Oh, yeah. Because, again, once you look at one of those teams, and then, again, I'm not looking into the future. I don't have a globe here. But, say you're the Lions, right? Goff regresses. You go 7 and 8? 7 and 9? Sorry. No, 7 and 10. 17 games now. 7 and 10. You barely missed the playoffs again. You don't think Goff is your future, but you're way too far back now to move up. Do you trade pick 16 for Trey Lance, or, whatever that pick would be?
That's fair. Let him and Hooker kind of like do it out a little bit,
right? Or if again, you're Tennessee and you go, oh, Will Levis isn't it? We saw that. Oh, Malik Willis isn't it? Again, they have pick 17, 18. They barely missed the playoffs. Do you move that pick for Trey Lance and see what his upside is? So again, I think there might be an opportunity there in the offseason. There might not be. I don't know how GMs think. I'm not in those fly. I wish I could be a fly on the wall. That would be so freaking cool. But,
right.
I wouldn't be surprised if in the offseason they got a 2nd or a 3rd for Trey Lance. So that's probably what I would do. It seemed to make the most sense. Secure your quarterback room at depth for the entire year. Once you know it's not Trey, trade for what you can and build up that draft capital again.
Love it.
Let's actually kind of use that as a good segment into our final topic for this podcast. Which team has improved the most? And then we'll follow up with which has gotten way worse. Who's in that Caleb Williams sweepstake?
So my Homer blood is coming through right now.
Oh my God! All right.
It's easy answer for me.
If you're gonna say it, I want a win prediction. You went. What did you go last year? 4 and.
It was 3. It was 3 and 14.
3 and 14. All right. I want to hear how many wins you think they get this year. Then, if you're gonna go with the Homer Bears pick.
Okay, so the Bears are actually my first answer, but I had another one too. But I'll give you my record guess. I think Bears win 8 ball games next year.
So what, a 5-game increase? So that's about a 100% increase roughly?
Yeah, roughly
150% increase. Okay.
I'm not as bad as a homer as most on Bears Twitter. They're like, oh, this is definitely like a 10 win season. Yeah. All right, guys, let's just take a step back real quick. Okay?
Yeah, let's not get ridiculous here.
Listen, I want that with all my heart. I just don't really see it yet. In my head, I was like, okay, I think 6 or 7 wins is probably their floor. And I think at most 9. So I'm happy medium 8.
Not the medium, but all right.
it's give or take. It's 7, 8, 9. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm good with 4 to 9, so I'll settle on 8. I'm pretty sure 6 is the medium. I think in between.
Bro, that was a completely different scenario. You just said. Okay, well, whatever. All right, let's
You
pivot.
know, I got to give you a hard. If you're gonna pick the
I
Bears,
know,
I got to give you a hard time. But that's
I know. I think their floor is probably, like I said, like 6 or 7.
okay.
Ceilings probably 9 or 10. Let's just say upper limit 10 being the very very most. I think happy medium is probably 8.
Okay,
And then actually, no, there's so many teams that got better. It's hard
they
to
did.
choose like 1 or 2. I kind of picked a sleeper, even though it's not really surprising. I think the Ravens did a great job this offseason.
Ravens.
Yes. I think locking down Lamar for what, like 5 years
Yeah.
is huge for them. They can finally move past that whole like drama with him. And
Yep.
then they signed Beckham Jr., right?
Yeah.
Bring in, brought him in, I think for like a guaranteed, I think it was 18 mil
Yeah. I
total,
think
but
it
I
was
think
16
12.
or 18, something like that.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
12 guaranteed. They drafted Zay Flowers to kind of work in like the slot. And then I know this is not really a quote unquote move, but J.K. Dobbins is going to be fully healthy.
Yeah.
And
And
his
Rashawn
core,
Bateman is coming back from
Bateman's
being.
coming back too. And I think that at least for Dobbins, again, like, I don't have like real hardcore stats on this, but players usually get back to their old selves 2 years after the major like injury.
Yeah.
So last year you can tell like he didn't have that burst, that speed yet. But we saw the same thing with Saquon Barkley too, like 2 seasons ago. And this past season he looked like his same self again, right?
True.
So that was 2 years after his like ACL tear. So that's like my like sleeper pick, and of course there's like other teams that are very good. Like obviously the Bears were easy answer because they were literally like ground zero. Like
Yeah. The number one
if you get
overall pick,
worse,
they got the most room to grow. So
yeah, like if you get worse than we were last year and we were the worst team, like I don't know what to tell you. So they had nowhere to go but up, right?
yeah.
You can say the same thing for like, I mean, the Jets weren't at ground zero, but I think they got a lot better too.
Get Aaron Rodgers.
But
That helps.
they got dude, they went from a 7-win team to a potential Super Bowl champion.
Okay,
In
let's
my
pump the
mind.
brakes. Pump the
Dude,
brakes.
I
Super
think
Bowl pump. Patrick Mahomes still exists. They're still in that division.
right. The AFC is tough, but
Conference.
I think the Jets roster is pretty solid.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think they can make a run. But my sleeper is the Ravens, and with the AFC North, you really got like the Bengals there.
Yeah.
So if you can kind of get past them, I think they can make a run too.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna push back a little bit on that. And I've seen it a lot. I've seen a lot of these the shows and the whatever programs on ESPN really like some of the moves the Ravens did. I feel like it's kind of like a glitz glamour kind of a thing. Zay Flowers, I like Zay Flowers. He's a rookie. Don't want to put too much expectations on him. The Garrett Wilsons are rare. So, I think he contributes a lot. Rashawn Bateman, I think, will hopefully take another step forward. He can contribute. The Odell Beckham move, I don't like as much as everyone else does. I mean, he didn't play at all last year. He had to have a second surgery, I believe, on his ACL to get it fixed. He hasn't been much of a factor in years, it feels like. I mean, he's still a great route runner. God-given, unbelievable hands. I mean, hopefully he's still an explosive athlete, and hopefully he comes out and plays well. But, if he flopped, I really wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't catch me off guard if he had a bad year because, I mean, he just hasn't had it. I mean, even on the Rams, he didn't catch fire until the playoffs, I think. Besides that, I think he had like 500 yards that year. So, I mean, nothing, staggering. Hopefully there's a good connection because Lamar Jackson, that man deserves it.
He's a dog.
Yeah, he's a dog. He needs the receiving weapons, and hopefully with better receiving weapons, people will knock off that crap too about, oh, he's a running back. He's not. He's a special talented quarterback,
He's a
and
dog.
you're gonna miss it when it's gone. So, but yeah, you know what? I don't hate the Ravens for a pick. I'm not as high on their new rebuilt receiver room as a lot of other analysts are.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
For me, again, like you said, there was a lot of teams that improved. I can't say 49ers. You made the NFC Championship. You had one of the best.
You guys are always up there. Like you can't,
there's nothing you're gonna do that's gonna be like, wow, you've really jumped 3 wins.
Right.
I like some of the Lions edition. They added Emmanuel Mosley, who from the 49ers, stud cornerback. Tore his ACL. He's coming off that. I think he should be good to go by the beginning of the year, but he was actually a really good lockdown corner for us. They did sign Gardner Johnson. They brought back Marvin Jones. They added David Montgomery. They added Isaac. I'm sorry, they didn't add Isaac. Another one I liked was the Steelers. They added Allen Robinson. They traded for Allen Robinson, who again down year. Let's see if he can bounce back. They added Patrick Peterson. Patty P is now on the Steelers.
Did they really?
Yeah,
I totally missed that.
I know. I
What
was
the
looking through
hell?
everything. I was like, which teams added what? Yeah, they added Patty P. And they also
Damn.
added Isaac Say Seumal Malo. Malo. I know I'm butchering that
I don't
freaking
know who that
name, and
is.
that's my fault. I tried. I got the pronunciation written down. I'm still butchering it.
Yeah,
But
it's fair.
he was a good, I believe he was a guard for the Eagles this past season, and they had
Oh,
top five O line. So they're getting Kenny Pickett
I
some
forgot about
protection.
him too. Yeah.
Yep. But honestly, my actual top pick for most improved, and this is again after I just said about the 49ers, it's kind of surprising, was the Eagles. Mostly
Yeah.
because they had a lot of pieces they could have lost, but they were able to maintain a lot of them. They did have a fantastic draft. A lot of people will regard it as the top or top three. They added Greedy Williams to play, QB3. So I mean, they already had Bradbury. They re-signed Darius Slay. You bring in Greedy Williams. You just strengthened another strength. They traded for DeAndre Swift. They added Rashad Penny, who was with Seattle, who was a phenomenal running back when healthy. I know they did lose Miles Sanders, but they found a cheap way to try to get that production back. They also added Terrell Edmonds, who had a better coverage grade than Gardner Johnson last year, according to PFF, and a better overall grade than Gardner Johnson, according to PFF. So for me, the Eagles seem like the obvious, not obvious, but maybe like you kind of mentioned, the sleeper surprise pick. Tell me who is in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes? Who is gunning for it? Who is going to win it? Who got way worse?
I can tell you this. I didn't have to debate this one as much as like who got better. Dude, the Tennessee Titans.
The Tennessee Titans
are going to be first overall pick next year.
First, oh wow, why?
Okay, maybe I'm just being over dramatic.
No,
but
you're passionate about it. Tell me why. What?
I'm not big on their QB room at all.
It's fair.
Not at all. I think they were trying to shop Ryan Tannehill. No one wanted him, dude. Like no one wants him. You have what was his name? Malik Willis, the guy that drafted last year.
Yep.
Reports already came out that they're already done with him, which is why they drafted Will Levis, who I think is going to flop. Like Titans fans might hate me after this because I'm just not big at Levis at all. But hey, if he comes out and he does well, I'll be the first one to say, yeah, I was wrong. I just don't see it. You have Derrick Henry, who is a workhorse. How much longer can he be a workhorse? How much longer can he be the entire offense?
How much longer is he going to be 6'3"?
6'3", 240, running like a 4.5 still. They're pretty much just like, dude, our game plan this year is that guy right there. Like,
yeah, you see the freaking nature back there? Yeah, we're just gonna hand it him about 40 times a game and just call it a night.
Let's call it a night. 3 yards and a cloud of dust. Dude, like, who do you even have that like receiver right now?
They have Trey Burks out of Arkansas, who they drafted last year in the second.
Yeah, he was a rookie last year.
I don't think they really added much beyond that.
I don't know who they like. What did they do this offseason? Like that's my biggest question. That's like, what did they even do to get better?
Now you're gonna make me look it up, aren't you?
I'm also looking it up because I thought I did it earlier, but I didn't see anything.
Let's see, because this is exactly how I pulled up, brother. So let's see if I can scroll down here real quick. Who did Tennessee add? Here we are. Okay, so they got Chris Moore. I don't know who the hell that is.
Yeah, let's say
Andre Dillard, who he's okay. Daniel Brunskill, he's good. He was with the 49ers.
Is he okay?
He kind of moves around. He's a backup for us, but he could be a really good starting guard.
So O-line, they addressed O-line a lot. They
added
the guy out of Northwestern, right? Peter Skronsky.
They added Arden Key again for the. I think they just took one of our guys to be their GM. Rand Carthman. I apologize if I'm messing that up. He was a minority ad for the general manager position. Okay. But Arden Key is a decent player. He had a decent backup year for us, so he could help fill in there. They added Azeez Al-Shaair, really good sleeper linebacker. He's going to blossom when he gets an opportunity to actually start, which he should in Tennessee. I mean, I don't disagree with you. I think they didn't do enough to move a needle. Like if their goal was to win the AFC South, Sure, but do you really consider them an AFC championship team? No, they're probably a one and done in the playoffs.
They might even finish last in the AFC South, dude. Like, I don't even know. Like,
Well, I mean, the Colts
Texans,
still have Anthony Richardson starting the whole year for them, so
yeah,
you're
that's
gonna get
fair.
some bum games out of there. So they might have a little bit worse record.
But then
Um,
think about it. If they have Will Levis starting, it almost just washes.
oh yeah,
You
if
know what I
Will
mean?
Levis
Like,
starts for him, something's gone wrong.
you
I
know,
mean,
you know, you
Tannehill
know.
plays, yeah,
You know what I mean? And then the Jaguars are on the up and coming. Like,
true,
you know what I
true.
mean? So I don't
That's
know
true.
how I can see him just like tanking next year, honestly, dude.
Really, well, they're
Yes.
gonna have competition because I had the Arizona Cardinals as the team that's competing for Caleb Williams, and I think they have their pick, and they also have the Texans pick, which is currently projected to be number 1 and number 2 in next year's draft. So they could
Dude, that would
these
be a whole
they could theoretically draft Caleb Williams out of USC and then immediately take Marvin Harrison Jr. out of Ohio State and just
oh
have
god.
another while
I
still
would
keeping
cry.
DeAndre Hopkins.
I
So
would cry, bro.
I I'm in their division. I would cry. Are you kidding me? Uh, I don't know.
Funny.
We'll see. I know they still have Kyler Murray at quarterback. Let's see if he stays healthy. Let's see what we
Yeah.
get. Do we get first
Yeah.
half Kyler? Do we get second half Kyler? JJ Watt retired.
They have a
Uh,
new head coach, right?
yeah, they got
New
new head
system in
coach with the
place.
defensive coordinator for the
The Eagles.
Eagles, who just got blown out by Kansas City or gave up what was it, a 20-point lead or something like that.
Something like that.
Couldn't stop Patrick Mahomes to save their life, but again, who can?
True.
Uh, let's see. Let me pull that website back up and see. Did they even add anybody? I mean, I really
I
don't.
mean, Paris Johnson Jr. is the only thing off the top of my head. I think they also denied the 5th round option for Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah, I mean, but he hasn't really done much. I mean, yeah, they
No, he
if you
hasn't.
go through and look at it. They added Kaiser White, who might be an okay linebacker for him, but again, good luck guarding George Kittle. So, um, yeah, I mean, nothing really special that they added. They pull up
You
who they
think they really move on to Kyler, move on from Kyler that fast though? Like, say they didn't. Let's say they did tank, right? They got a top 3 pick. They just gave Kyler so much money. What, like last offseason? Was it like
yes.
what is it, like 45 mil a year or something like that?
Yeah. Um, would they? I mean, I don't know. They did um move on from Josh Rosen pretty quick. And if it could save them $45 million a year, they might. I mean, or they could just shop it around and get a huge haul.
Yeah, I
Let's
don't
see.
know. I don't know if it would be huge because they would have to like they would probably propose a team, hey, we will eat like Kyler's contract and you could give us like a third.
So it looks like they mostly lost Byron Murphy Jr., a cornerback, who for them who was decent, and Zach Allen, who was again decent. But I mean, if you look at their entire roster, I mean, they don't have a whole lot of dudes. I mean, again, the receiving room is okay. Their quarterback room is good, obviously with Kyler there. Their tight end room is a little underrated. I kind of like oh gosh, who did they draft a couple years ago? And you get it pulled up.
I'm trying to think who you're talking about.
So they have Zach Ertz. They also have Trey McBride, who was out of Colorado
Oh
State. He was
yeah,
like the top
hurts.
tight end in last year's draft. So they do have DeAndre Hopkins back. They might still trade him. Marcus Brown, who really hasn't done anything for him since he got there. Rondell Moore, who again I personally like, but we need to see what he can do. So I think there's just question marks up and down the roster. Their defense, yeesh. I mean, they got Buda Baker, but I think Buda Baker's got a trade request in, so he might even be gone.
Yeah, he's actually pissed off.
Yeah. I mean, I know it would never happen, but I would love for the 49ers to trade for him. Oh, he would be so
Dude,
fun.
Buddha in that defense.
It would never happen.
Yeesh.
I know. But the fun that would be.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
someone would have to leave, right? One of your safeties.
no, I guess technically we have a Sean Gibson who's a little older. He was actually contemplating
Oh, he's older.
past offseason. So then we have
Yeah,
Hufanga. So you bring Buda Baker in, he could play free safety for us. Let him go back to Rome. But he's also such a good blitzer. He's such a good tackler. He helps and runs
he's
the
so
field
good.
so much. I mean, he's got to be one of the top safeties in the league. But if he's gone, I mean, I think if he's gone, they end up trading DeAndre Hopkins still. I think it's very easy that Arizona could be the worst team in the league by a mile. I can't think of anyone else that's competing harder to stink. So
I mean, dude, they can do exactly what Ryan Poles and Bears did at the start of last season, trade all their major assets away just to fully tank. Like Hopkins gone, Buda
yep,
gone.
yep.
I
Plus,
don't
I
know
mean,
who
it's
else
hard
they
to trade
have.
free agents because wasn't it according to PFF or something like that also that they came out with the rankings for like team locker rooms? I know they talked about on the Pat McAfee show too. And Arizona had like one of
Mhm.
the worst like facilities. They were making dudes pay for their lunches and stuff like that.
Yeah, I do. I do
So
remember that. The whole grades. Yeah.
yeah. So that's my pick. I know you kind of mentioned Tennessee. I wouldn't be surprised either, but I think there's a little bit weaker of a division. Arizona might just get bombarded with the Rams because they're getting a little bit
Oh,
healthier. The Rams also could
yeah.
be another one in competition for the number one overall pick. And I'm sure they would love to have the LA superstar Caleb Williams stay in LA. So
Yeah, he seems like a future Ram. Like I can see him wearing like the Rams like uni. You know what I mean? Like he just seems like
I hope
you guys will be fine though. I mean, the Niners is in the Super Bowl window right now. I'm gonna try to give you just like
good
love.
vibes. Good
Yeah,
vibes.
yeah,
Please.
yeah,
Again, I would rather hope someone else becomes the worst team and Caleb Williams doesn't go because he's gonna I remember watching him in Oklahoma in his first season there and just thinking he's gonna make some team really happy someday. But
yeah. No, he's a stud. I mean, he probably was up there. Like if he came out this season, like if he could, he
oh yeah,
probably. I mean, it would have came down to him or Young being the first overall pick.
yeah.
I mean,
But I think that pretty much wraps it up for this episode of the Rational Football League. If you guys watch this, comment comment on our clips. Please let us know your thoughts. Let us know where we agree, where you don't agree. We love communicating with you guys. We love engaging with you guys. Hopefully, we didn't say anything too irrational that is going to make some people hot headed, but seems to happen. You never know. So we love engaging with you guys. So please like, share, follow, engage with us. We are happy to defend our opinions and our arguments until we change them. All right. So
yes,
until next
sir.
time, it's been Brendan Ford. It's been Emmett Swart. We will see you guys again on the Rational Football League show.